Okay. So I'll be explaining about a few basics that I know for Golang and further explain you about how I built, and I'll take up any questions if you have. There is no class concepts here, so I think it is pretty quick on how it goes. If you have any questions, you can always interrupt me while I'm explaining this. So to start with, you can download Golang to your system by going to golang.org and by clicking on this link. You have to install an MSI version of it, .msi for Windows. It is good to have this one in local, even though we have this in Docker. The reasons are because it will give you a lot of intelligence for your, the editor that you are using. I recommend using Visual Studio Code for this. That is what I am using too. So just download this MSI, whichever is relevant to you, and then once it has installed, there is only one small thing that you'll have to do. That is by going to your this PC and then visiting your properties. That's where you get to see the advanced system settings and then environment variables. In environment variables, we have something called Go path. This one by default, as soon as you install Golang, it will add this environment path with you. Okay, if you want to change that path, you can do it. For now, for me, I've added it as D drive Golang. That's where all my Go folder is residing. So inside D, I have a folder called Go. For most of you, while you are installing Docker, there was a necessity for this Go folder. So that's when I remember explaining this to most of you, but then I just wanted to brush up those. So this is going to be my Go folder. If you are installing it somewhere else, just make sure that this Go path will be directly in a place where you have src package and bin. Okay. Even if you don't have these folders, that is still fine. It will automatically create it for you. Just make sure that wherever you want to use this, just specify the path correctly, and the system will take it further for you. Okay. I see a couple of them just joined. I'll just try to reiterate for them. Okay. So to start with Golang, you'll need to go to golang.org website, and when you click on download link from here, download Go, that's where you can download the relevant version for your Golang. In my case, for Windows, I have just installed these. And then once after you installing it, you'll have to go to the environment variable path via this PC properties. If you go to properties, you'll be taken to system properties. That's where you click in environment variables, and inside environment variables, under user variables, we will have Go path. Okay. By default, this Go path will be its own system path. You can change it to whatever directory that you want to use for your Golang development. So in my case, it is dgo. Okay. So in my dgo, I have these three folders. You don't really need this in the beginning. The system will set up those things for you. Okay. I just have inside D drive, I just have Go, and that's it. Inside that D, if you are doing this for first time, just give that Go path. So once that path is set, then to begin with a new project, you'll have to create a SRC folder. You forget about bin and package here. Just create an SRC folder. This is mandatory. Inside that SRC will be all your projects that you want to build for Go. Okay. So I'll start with a new folder called training today. So I'll just open that in my Visual Studio. I have recently shifted to Visual Studio because of Golang, and it has been very good in terms of development as well. I'll tell you the other reasons why as and when we are going through the code. Okay.
Is there anything we require to install Golang, like Java or some Java package?
No, nothing at all. Nothing at all. So as and when you download the Golang, it will create, it will ask you for the path where you want to install the Go. I have put C, inside C I have put this Go. All the binaries required for Go is all here. Okay. It can be, by default, I think it is going to give C Go. This is where the required libraries for Go is.
This is the installation directory, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and in the D Go, that is the project directory.
D Go is project directory, and C Go is
by default
Go binary. Yeah. Go binary. Just like if you install any other application, it will usually go inside project program files or program 86 and so on, right? So while installing, it is going to ask for that path, and for me, it actually gave this C Go path, and I did the straight installation.
Okay.
So even I think I'm right now using Go version 1.14.2, but just yesterday they released another minor 1.143. Yeah, this one got released. .3 got released yesterday. It's always good to have the latest update, but there won't be a lot of change whenever they release such minor stable versions. Okay. So that's about the language version that I'm using. Okay. So once you are done, just for every, I'm starting to explain the flow. Okay, so for the entry point, like we have for PHP, it was usually index.php, right? So in the same way, in Go, we have main.go. Okay. So this is going to, the main.go is actually going to be a entry point for your application. Usually this is common use case. Maybe you can even try maybe like index.go or something and use it. But it's a convention that most of us are really using main.go. Okay. So every go .go file we can have we need to have its own package name. So for every main package that you want to work with, it's going to be in package main. This is going to be the same, like namespace we have it in PHP. So that is about usage of package. And for every, like in C language, we used to write function main, right? In the same way, even here we have the main method that will become a part of entry point. So I'll just show you how to do that. So to write a function inside in Golang, we will use func. There is no full function; it is just func, and then main. uh, and that is it. Okay. Even if you remember back in college days, whenever you are learning Java, it used to be public static void main. Similarly, even here as well, func main is going to be the entry point. That's where you declare all your variables and all that. So just to see if everything is going correctly inside this, yeah, if to see if everything is going fine, all you need to do is uh, just do go run, and then whatever file you want to execute, if that is having a main file, you just need to use main.go. Okay. So if I just hit enter, it's going to just see compile itself, and if there is any output that we want to print, it will print all that in the CLI. In Visual Studio, if there is any syntax error, it's going to show up in the problems section here. But right now there is no problem, so it is not showing up anything. Okay, so there is also this inbuilt terminal in Visual Studio, which is very helpful without having to switch between the CLI and the application whenever you're using Sublime Text. For most of you guys, actually, initially, whenever we started to work, I had recommended Sublime Text. Some of you were even using Notepad++, and some of you were using another text editor. I had influenced you guys to start using Sublime, but recently, with the latest updates in Sublime these days, it is actually taking a lot of RAM space. And then for every changes that we do and save in Sublime, it is actually taking a lot of processing abilities. It is trying to intelligently think whether your code is right, every syntax is right, and all those sort of compilations were happening in Sublime. Even here it is happening. I'm not saying no, but it is doing it much efficiently. There is because of that there is no heating problems with your laptop and all that. Okay. So also notice I don't have any Docker running. I have installed Golang on my machine. That is because IntelliSense in Visual Studio is taking care of it. I'll tell you how that is happening as well. So for anyone who is actually newly starting any new programming, they want to know how to print and see. So let's dive into that first. So we have print R in print R or echo in PHP. There is FMT here in Go. FMT is the package where we have the printable methods. So just keep noticing how things are showing intelligently here on my screen. So as and when like we have tends to in PHP, we have dot in Golang, where we get to see for whatever for FMT package, like we have main package. Golang has FMT package that has the all kinds of printing abilities, scanning abilities, and all that. Okay, these are all the methods that are available. If you're getting used to this Visual Studio with all of these IntelliSense, I think you don't even need to remember what methods are there, or you don't even have to go and visit Golang docs to even refer a method that you want to use on a particular package. I'll also explain you, even if you have custom methods, even that is shown up on this. I'll come to that part as well, but for now, the common practice for printing is going to be print ln. Notice how the import statement got added. Import is just like namespace again, where you like in PHP we use use, and we used to give the required namespace where we can fetch the methods, static methods, and all that. So here in Golang, as soon as I start using the the package, it is in Visual Studio. It is actually helping us to add this import statement on its own. This kind of flexibility you will not see in Sublime. I think there are some the plugins that you want to install, but in Visual Studio, as soon as you create a .go file, it's going to recognize and show you a recommendation pop up here in this area. You can automatically install the all the required recommendations that comes up. It will give two options. One is install and then install all. I prefer if you are doing this for first time, I would ask you to use that install all. That way, it will install all the packages that the Visual Studio needs. Okay. Uh, okay. So to print something, we will need to add in a string. Notice how I am using the double quotes here. There is no single quotes convention at all in Golang, like we have it in PHP. So I'm sure initial days, whenever you are using this, whenever you are trying to use this a lot, you will be typing on single quotes, which will be thrown as an error. Okay, let's go with the old convention. Hello world. We are all used to this, aren't we? Okay, so hello world, and then if I want to execute this, I just have to do go run main.go. Notice I'm still not thrown any error message. There's no problems listed here, and there is no semicolon. Okay, so even if I try to save that semicolon and hit save, did you see what happened? The IntelliSense that is built with Visual Studio and that works with Golang automatically removed that semicolon for us because it was not required. It is already maintaining all the standards that it requires while doing an operation. Okay, so let me run this. So as soon as I run it, it's going to do the hello world. It did print the statement. So that is about using print line. Okay, I think for any developer, the next question would be how do I initialize a variable? Like we have it in PHP, we used to just write dollar name is equals to, let's say, my name, and then we used to do it like this, and this used to work as it is, right, without having to specify any kind of variable data type. In Golang, this dollar name is equals to my name is actually like this. So name, whatever variable name that you want to give. In my case, I'm just giving name, and to initialize the data type, and take in the value, you need to use colon equal to. Okay. Notice there is a colon and then there is a equal to, and then if I have to initialize the variable, I can do it like this. Okay, no need for any semicolon as it is again. Okay, I'm just going to remove this. Okay, this is for initializing the data type and initializing the value to the variable name. Okay, this is one way. Notice it is actually telling me that there is a problem. Let us see the problem there. So it is saying that it's an error, compiler error. Name variable is declared but never used. That means I have initialized this variable, but I'm not doing anything with it. Right. So that is treated as a complaint here, unlike PHP. We are very much used to PHP. We'll write a variable, and PHP does not complain about it at all. And even if we run things, it is to work without any problems. But in Golang, if you leave a variable unused, it is going to throw as an error. It's not even a warning. Okay, it's going to throw itself as an error, and you have to definitely correct it. If I still try to compile it, I'll just try to compile it again. Go run main.go. It's going to tell me the same thing again. It's not going to execute. Okay. So I will just print this one. That way I don't have to wait for it to keep throwing errors. Notice how it removed that error automatically from my problem list. Right. I've not even saved my thing here. It automatically recognized that I used that variable. And I'll just see it. If I run it, I'm supposed to be seeing hello world as well as name. Okay. Same thing. Usually this println is common. If I can even do print, the regular print, print line is going to just create a new line right after printing this one. Just like in Java, we have system.out.println and system.out.print. Same way even here, we can always do this as well. I'll just put this one on the top. You will see the difference. Okay. So that first print actually didn't put the slash n to it, and when it executed the next line, it automatically continued. But if I had any other statement after this, it would have been in a new line. Okay. I'll just remove one of these. Okay. So there is another way also to use these methods. Use the variable declaration. If you want to do that, we need to use var, just like in JavaScript. But in JavaScript, it's not recommended to use var now. I guess most of you know that. So var, and then let me say company, and then I have to specify the name of the data type. Okay. So I can do this, and then when I can initialize the variable like this. Okay. Notice that it is still complaining that it is never used. Okay. So I'll just do the println as it is, and it is automatically going to remove it. Okay. So that is about just using, declaring the variable and initializing the variable. Declaration and initialization. Okay. We can also have multiple, this is one way. We can also have multiple declarations in one place, like first name, last name. Okay, and all of these will be under a string. Okay, I can use this one after. I'll just say, yeah. And then notice how it is showing two errors. Those are that is saying that it is declared but never used. So it's first name, and I can use multiple variables in one print line. I can just use comma, and I can start printing. Start using the next variable that I want to print. So whenever I want to execute this, it's going to add the space automatically. There is a space between Brain and Hamilton. Okay. So that is how everything is taken care. So if you want to know what all data types we have string, we have int we have so many variations, int 16, int 32, int 64, int 8. We also have unsigned int, unsigned 16, unsigned 32, unsigned 64, and all that. Why do we use regular int, and why do we use unsigned int? Unsigned int is actually taking less capacity than the actual int. If you know that you will not use any negative values for your variable, then I would recommend you to go ahead and use unsigned int. That will be the most cases. Okay. So in case you're not sure whether you will be using negative or not, I think it is safe to use int. If you are doing any complex scientific calculations, then I think it's better to go with int 64, because usually they use Golang for these reasons, scientific calculations where they can perform the operations faster than any other programming language. Okay, so that same thing even for int 64. So we have int, and we even have float. We have two variations, float 32 and float 64. Generally, float 64 is recommended, even in Java as well. If you had used Java earlier, usually this is the common case, because they move for yeah. We also have I think we just have these variables. Oh, we have bool. This is for Boolean related operations. If you okay, one more thing for int, if you are just storing values like 1, 2, 3, like some single digit variation, if you want to still use int, you're sure here in this case that it is a positive int, I would recommend you to use unsigned int and unsigned int 8. This unsigned int 8 is going to take care of that 1 to 3 values, and let me see. Yeah, 8 is the minimum. Somebody had some question. Okay. Okay, so string, int, float, and boolean. I don't think I know any other data types that have been apart from these, but according to me, it's just this. Okay. If you want to, we even have one more data type. I forgot. We have this even in Java as well. We are used to null, right? In Java, this is null, and even in PHP, we have this as null. In Golang, we have nil, not null. It's nil. Okay, you will see using this a lot in Golang. Okay, so these are some data types and some some values that you can store, not null. It's just nil, just to based on that. So these are the different data types. Let me just comment it out. Have it for your reference. Okay. So we so far learned how to create a main function, and we have seen about creating the package. So how this FMT package got installed. I mean imported automatically. We have seen how to do a print statement. We have seen how to initialize a value. I don't know how many of you observed, but have you seen these two lines? We just have equal to instead of colon equal to. So what is happening here is because we already have declared the variable here, you don't have to redeclare it. this colon acts like declaration and equal to acts like initialization in the regular case. Okay, just remember, if you are adding colon, that means you are declaring and initializing it. Okay, so here we are just initializing because we have already declared it. Okay, so this is one way of initialization. I think there is another way. I'll just try this out. I've never tried this. Sometime way back when Joe was here, I tried this one out. Let me do some shot.
Hi Karthik, is there any difference like string and char?
There is no char. Let me see. I don't think there is char. Yeah, there is no char. It's always string, and it's automatically going to take care of the string itself. There is no single letter. A single letter was actually a char, right? So
Yeah.
there is no difference between string and char here, and there is no char data type at all. So don't worry about char.
Karthik.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah,
Karthik. So you declared like first name and last name is a string, right?
Correct.
If you option in case the first name is integer, say whatever the variable different, the option is the string or integer.
Yeah. So no. Here, if you are specifying like if you want string, if you want integer, then I think it's just this. But I don't think you can mix match this like this.
No, that's fine. My question is, in case optional, the value is coming string or integer. That is possible.
Oh, that is not possible. You need to be very specific about it. Like in PHP, we give name and we are storing 0 in it. That's no.
Some cases, see, actually in the API, some cases we not assume, right? So the value is coming from string or integer. So based on the we could have changed. So in case, like for example, Magento, the API is coming from like the value is a string or integer. It's a different thing.
Okay.
So we can't assume everything. That's what I'm asking. The optional parameter is there.
No. It's usually not like that. Actually, if you go to Magento backend and see the schema, that's where you find the data types, right? So it should just be same as that. Okay, there is another thing in terms of what you just asked. I understood your question again. So what happens is, even though it is in SQL schema, even though it is marked as integer, and whenever we fetch in that information, PHP will fetch that information as string itself and pass that as string. Okay, but okay, that is an advanced question. But let me explain that for you. Whenever we are fetching that information, we will use JSON.marshal. Actually, this is going to do the marshalling and unmarshalling. That is just like encode and decode, right?
Yeah, it's correct. Yeah.
So it is automatically going to map itself to its corresponding structure. So you don't have to worry about we got in string, but this is actually supposed to be integer. You don't worry about it. It will automatically take care for you.
Actually, the few cases I'm facing the zone is problem. That's what I'm asking.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, the like Vue.js or something that we have the optional parameter is there. The props coming from like integer or string or array, we can mention some optional parameters. So that kind of stuff is
No, even in Vue.js, those if you specify the data type completely, it's going to throw an error because because we are clearly specifying that integer is expected, but you are giving string there. In that issue.
No, the props we have option is there.
Correct. Yeah, I know. That's what I was referring to. Yeah, you need to actually parse it before you have it. In that case, you need to parse it. Okay, I'll also give that example here. Let me continue this one. I'll just have one small explanation and I'll go through that parsing. I'll tell you about it. Okay. For others, I was trying to explain one small thing. we can do both initial declaration and initialization in the same line. I'll just show you how. So let's say I have postal code and we are expecting this to be a string, and all we need to do is just give an equal, and then if that is a string, then all we need to do is just I'm just trying it out. I have not tried this from up to a long time back. I think it should be like this, or maybe not sure if this is going to work. Yeah, so this is working. But if I just try to give another thing to this, it is street. This is not going to work. I think all I have to do is just give a comma and yeah. So this is another way. I'll just add this if empty statements are in. It's going to keep throwing error. Okay. So this is one way of initialization, and then like this one, and then this is another way. Yeah, by seeing it is actually looking very weird because we are not used to this syntax, but this is how another way is. If you cannot actually in combination, you cannot use string and integer. Okay, if you want to do that, it should be really another variable. I can just say zip code. Um, it's definitely going to be an unsigned int. For this level of zip code, I think unsigned 32 will work. It keeps saying that I have not used that, so I'll just add it here. And if there is more, maybe phone, give a comma and add the numbers. Okay, so you should be grouping by basically when you have multiple data types, you just group by and it will take care of it for just like visiting the old school where we learned C language. Okay, these are many ways that you can do this initialization and declaration. I've also seen another way. Let me. So many ways there are. Let me try this address. One just to both a string, and then I think it's going to be like this. It's going to be in the next line or something. I've seen something like this. I'm not sure whether this is really practical. It says expression one never used. Not even sure. Yeah, I don't think this is the right syntax. Yeah, anyway, there is something like this I have seen a few people using online, but that was an ugly way. I didn't like it. So just keep these things in mind about initializing and all that. Okay, so if you want, okay, going back to Vinod's question, let's assume here we have a string postcode. If I want to convert this to a integer 32, unsigned integer 32 zip code, we have another convention for it. First, let me check if I can override that. So, yeah, I can override it. It's not throwing error. Yeah. So, if I want to just use this postcode as zip code, which is actually a string, then there is a package called string convert. Okay. In this, there is this parse methods, which is helping us for any kind of parsing. Okay. So parse u int is parsing any unsigned integer. So here we need to specify first parameters, like you are already seeing. See how nice this one is. Actually, we were trying to achieve this one in PHP 7. That's why we are actually trying to specify data types for each one. So first I'll need to give the string that I want to parse. That is going to be my postcode. And what is the base int value? That's always going to be 10. And we want it converted to 32-bit. So if I just use 32, I think that should do, okay, that should do its work. Okay, there is one more thing that I have not explained. I'll just try to explain that with this example. I'll just use this line here. So when you hover on parse uint, you can see that it is returning back unsigned int 64, and there is an error. We can return multiple values in Golang. Here it is doing two. One is unsigned int 64 and an error. So I need to catch those things. So that is going to be like this. I'll just use parsed int. I just use pint, and in second parameter there is error. I'm using variable err to actually capture that. Okay. So in error, there is no try catch in Golang. Okay. So if there is any error, it is actually giving that in this second parameter. Whereas, okay, I forgot one more small thing. There is an error data type. So error data type is handling all kind of errors. In this case, err here is actually, if you can see, it is a error data type. Okay. So moving on. So if now I have converted from string to unsigned int, even though this is base, bit size I have given 32. If I just use pint here, it's not going to accept because zip code is unsigned int 32 and pint is unsigned int 64. So if I want to convert this unsigned int 64 to 32, I'll just have to use unsigned int 32 and then that's used as a method. And that's it. Okay. Notice how I'm seeing an error here. It's not used. If some kind of method here is not used, some of you might have already seen me doing this. I use dollar underscore. In Golang, it's underscore. Okay, if you are not using some variable and if it is mandatory to be used, we used to have these kind of things in a filter or in a loop, right? In a closure, or I can even say array map, array filter, and things like that. So it's going to be like this. I used to use dollar underscore. Here there's no dollar, so just underscore, and that will solve the problem for us. And we have also parsed it. Now if I just use print statement to print the zip code, it's as simple as I have to run it. Notice that it converted and it printed it. I can even add a string here saying what is zip code, and I'll just rerun it, and it printed zip code. So this is how you, whenever you are getting a string but you are expecting any question?
Hello.
Okay. So this is how you parse it. And the other way around, if you want to convert integer to string, it's very simple. And just use postcode is equals to if I want to convert zip code, this one to, I'll just actually reinitialize it because zip code is now having, okay, that is having the conversion. So if I want to convert, unsigned int 32 to string passcode, postcode, I'll just have to do string with a method and then just pass in zip code. As simple as that. Postcode. So I'll just run it. So postcode, and I don't know why it did do this one. I thought it is supposed to print it. Let me directly add. I think it's going to be the same anyways. Let me do this directly. I can even do this without any. Let me see what was there even in zip codes. Yeah, I think it didn't convert here. Let me see if there is a string converter for this. All I have to do is just search for it. Oh, I think the reason why it didn't convert is so there will be a base, hexa character, right? For every character, there is a hexadecimal value to it, and string will not know without having that hexadecimal value. So that hexadecimal, I think need to include another one. We have byte data type, so we need to convert this integer 32 to byte and then convert it back to string. Let me try that. Uh, I don't think I can do it like this, but let me. No. I need to actually, I'm sure I need to convert that zip code to byte and then try to do it directly as byte. So from byte, I'm converting it to string. So what will happen? It will convert zip code unsigned integer 32 to bytes, which is going to be in hexadecimal case. And then I'm converting that hexadecimal value to string. Let me try. No. Okay. I think I need to research on this. Okay, I'll just leave that thing to you. I will always get it in Google, as you know. But usually it's supposed to be like that. I don't know. Let me give it another try. Byte. No. It should be at least in byte of arrays. I'm not sure again. Okay. I'll just leave this one to you guys to understand how to do that conversion. Okay, so let's move on. There are more things. I have already explained these kind of database data types. There is one more thing. All of these are actually called as, going back to college days, all of these are actually called as primitive data types. Right? So, and then we have non-primitive. So here in non-primitive we have struct. So we'll see how this struct will look like. So if, to declare struct, you just need to do it like this. So we'll start with type and then the name of the struct. So name of the struct, let's say address. We are so much used to this. actually address, and then I'll write my struct keyword, and then inside a struct we can have any number of the data that you want to store in here. You can have it inside. Okay, so I'll just write first name, which is going to be a string type. Last name going to be a string type. Address line 1 string type. I'll just duplicate this for line 2. We have whether it is a billing address or shipping address differentiation, right? Let me call that is address type. So here, if we want to have a billing address type as 1 and shipping address type as 2, it's supposed to be, we here know that it is a unsigned int. So I'll use the minimum number that I can use. So that's going to be unsigned int 8, where we can just store 1 and 2, like I said. Okay.
Is struct used in real scenario?
Yeah, we have used 100% of the time.
And instead class also you can use, right?
There is no class in Go.
Okay. Oh, that's
it's not object oriented. So I will use isActive also to just refer whether this particular customer address is active or not. Notice how I have used the integer type. Let's add another ID as well, which is a very common use case, which is an unsigned int type. Here, usually it is the primary key, right? So we are very much used to using ID like this. So I'll just keep it like this for now. Notice I have not saved anything here yet. So as soon as I hit save, look what's going to happen. So it automatically formatted my text. Okay. So that is how Go with Visual Studio is working. If you are still willing to use Sublime, there is another command called go formed. Okay, and there is command called if you just give go formed and main.go, it is going to format your text. So it is not written anything. Okay, it is just showing you how it will be formatted here. But for writing, I think go formed -w, I think main.go. So it will write it. So let me just change a correction here. If I just do it like this, and if I just do go formed, yeah, write result to the source file. Oh, I think you need to save it, and only then it's going to, because here my Go is already taking care of, my Visual Studio is already taking care of it. So even though if I want to not use this, I need to change my settings for all that. So you can use this -w, so it is going to take care of it for you. Okay. So this is how the standard formatting is going to work. Let's add a value to it. If I don't add a value, let's see how it looks. Interval. And if I just type in, okay, I need to initialize this. So we have just whatever we have done is just initializing, declared it. We'll just do initialization of it. I'll just call it. Okay, I'll just call it line because there's so many of us are very used to these lines. Okay, so and also, by the way, convention in Golang is just one word. I can even do a here. A is equals to address, and then initialization will go like this: address and then the regular struct like this. And the problem here is I'm not using a, which I have declared. I just give a, and notice there is no errors anywhere. So if I want to print what is there in a, just add a statement here because I cannot remove my other print statement. I just add that. So if I just hit go run main.go, it's going to initialize the data with empty values. This is an address struct, and then default value for integer was id. All other blank that you saw here is actually strings, and 0 that you saw is integer address type, and then active is boolean, so by default it is false. Okay, if you wanted to see even the keys for these, okay, all we need to do is we are very used to this sprint statements, right? So we even have that here as well. I'll just try to use that. Fmt dot printf. Okay, printf is going to help us for printing it. So again percentage s and then give the value. But s is for string, right? If you want to print the straight value for this, we should just use v as in value. You got the xm. Okay. If you want to see the key as well, we just need to have a plus in front of it. Okay. So that much, and I'll just add the address here. I'll just remove this line, and notice how you get the ID, key and value plus. Okay. So that is how you even see the keys. If I don't give plus there, it doesn't. It's just like print regular print line. Okay. So most of us will definitely need this, so I'm just trying to explain that. Let's see. Okay. So if I want to initialize a value, I can do it in two ways. Okay. I'll show both the ways. So one is just give the values as it is according to whatever order that you specify. So I'll just use short. I think I mostly remember the US address than our office address. Okay. So how much did I type? First name, last name, address line 1, line 2, address type. Address type is just, let's say, one, is active, true. Okay, this is one way. We'll just see the result of this. So like this. You have all the values. If you don't have anything, by default empty, like we have already seen here. In the same way, address with values. We'll see this. So the other way of initializing this, I will call this B. It's going to be like this: address, and we as usual open the flower braces, and then we give in the value, just like the regular JSON. I will say. I'll just call 2. And for every line like we have in JSON and that we use in array, for every end of the line you definitely need to have this comma. Okay. Or else it is going to throw you that error. So notice as and when IntelliSense showed up, I just pressed enter and it automatically gave me the comma as well and pointed my cursor in the right place. Last name, same thing again. Address, if I just notice if I don't give line 1, and line 2. Let's see that as an example as well. I'll just do address type as 2 and is active false. If yeah, let me make it true because I want to show you examples. So notice how this one even formatted my text here. And if I remove this, okay, the error is B is not used. We'll just duplicate this line and call this B. Just use address A and address B. Okay, so that error is gone. If I remove this last semicolon, last comma, see that it is throwing that as an error. It's a mandatory statement. You definitely need to have a comma. If I simply save like this and still try to execute, as usual, it's not going to execute. It's very strict. So now if I print this, let's see what happens. I should have actually used the next line statement. Yeah, it's actually here. Let me get it to the next line. Hold on. Okay. So address B, ID 2, it took it properly, first name, last name. Address 1, address 2 were left empty, so empty string. It didn't complain about leaving it empty. Address type 2, again, true. Is active is true. Okay. So this is how we do it in the other way around. We can either do it like this without the keys. If you do it like you can even include keys. The most common way is you use keys because if you change the order here, let's say line 2 and line 1 got interchanged. Now line 2 will become 101 instead of this one being the line 1. And we can also notice that here. See, line 2 is 101 not line 1. And address line 1 became Baltimore. Okay. So if we had the actual keys, then that is the correct way of doing it. Even though that is allowed, I mean without keys, it's actually going to with keys it's going to help us. Okay. So this is about non-primitive data type. Okay. So I think this is all about the primitive and non-primitive, and we don't have anything more than this. I think I'm only left with a couple of topics. Let me just give a brief about it. So one is using interface. This is not like a regular interface that we are used to in PHP or any other programming language, I must say. Okay, and in non-primitive, actually there are more. We have slice, which is nothing but array. We'll go through that, and we have map, which is actually an associative array. Slice is actually indexed array, and map is actually associative array. And using this is slice of array, right? There is also slice of struct as well, and then in map there is a slice of map as well. Okay, which is going to be associative again. And then we have access specifiers, and then we have more things to discuss about packages. Okay, so let me go through this slices. And this is a small topic. I'll try to explain it off. It's very easy. Let's go through slides. Let's call this slides. Okay. So how do we declare slice? It's just like map. Okay. What example can I take? Yeah, I'll take an example of slice of strings itself. Uh, it should have been making any sense. Okay, I'll just do it slice of integers. I think we'll see how it is. Okay, so to do that slice, we can simply do it like this. Again, initialization and declaration both are there. So declaration numbers. I like to call this numbers, and using slice of it will be an array bracket like this, and slice of what you want to have. Okay, it's going to be like this. So number is not used. So dot println and number. You know, if you have not specified, there is nothing like limit. I think I'm not sure. I must give it a try. Let me try. I've given slice of 5. Array is called a slice. If I've given slice of 5, it's going to print 5 array. Yeah, so it's going to print 5 array elements. All are defaulted to 0. Okay. If I have not given anything, I think it's going to be empty array. Yeah, like this. It can have unlimited. Okay, we're so much used to this unlimited thing. I'll stick on to that. So, and if you want to add anything to it, you will do it like this. Number is equals to and array of integers, and then this flower bracket where you enter your required numbers. You don't. It will not accept string. It's going to throw an error. It's supposed to be definitely integer. Okay. So let's see this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 got printed. Okay. So without initializing, if you want to use it, you can really do that. I'll just comment this line out. So when you want to do that, you need to just use colon, and that's it. Okay. In the same way, we can even do string. Let me do names, and it's going to be a slice of string. So I'll just give and then I'll just give names and then print it. So we have slice of strings as well. We can have slice of structs as well, like I said. We already have one struct here, right? I'll try to show you how this one is done. So it's again like this. So slice of struct will be like addresses. I'm just using the same example already that we had. So it's going to be array of address struct. Okay. I think I can. Okay, addresses is there, but it's not used. So it's going to be addresses, and inside addresses, if I just have to create multiple things inside the set. I can just start doing this. So number, so ID as 1, name as, let's say, I don't know his last name. Oh, actually, you know what? It's going to be first name. There is no, I don't know his last name, so I'll just leave it blank. So I'll just call address. Is that address line 1? Yeah. Address line 1 is not showing that IntelliSense for some reason. And then we can just type address type, which is equal to 1, and is active. It's going to be, let's say, true. So at the end of the line, I just need to give a semicolon to complete it. Okay, and I'll just add these addresses here, or else it keeps throwing that error. If I want to have another line, can just do that. Yeah, I think it's going to be number 10. Address type 2, and then is active. And if I want to print this, I've already added the address variable for me to print here. So I just can do this. So it printed me both the addresses. So slice works like this. Okay. Okay. One more thing. If you want to print the first element, let's say I want to print Chetan, I'll just have to do font print line names of 0. Obviously, that's going to be the same way as in PHP. Okay. And even any other language, I must say, not just PHP. If I just want to print Amrish, and I print it like this. Oh, sorry. Actually, it started with all zeros. So yeah. So anyway, if I want to print both Chetan and Amrish only, we have this colon operator. That's going to print everything until that is index is 1. Actually, it did take 2. Even I'm getting used to this. So yeah. So 2. It's going to print 2 elements. So colon is something new for us. It's going to print 2 elements. Basically, 2 elements is what it is referring to. If I want to print anything after, let's say if I want to print Amrish and Vipin only, then this 2 will, this colon will come the other side. I think it should be, yeah, let me see. Even I am doing a trial and error with this. It's been some time that they have not tried this out. Yeah, as expected. So it should be after 1. You need to just view that. So we have got both Amrish and Vipin. Okay. So in slices, the reason for slice is this new, the new way of actually getting the required elements. Okay. So that is about slice. Let's go through map. I'll just do print ln.
Karthik.
Yeah.
One question. In that slice, you are using one column or like static value you are giving. And can you give variable there?
You can. I think so. Let me try. I think it should be an unsigned int or something. I'm not sure. It doesn't show that, but let me try. Yeah, that's a good question. But I think it should be a string or something. I'm not sure. Let me just give it a try instead. Hopefully it will not. Yeah, I did throw an error. So what is expected at least? Must be integer. Yeah. I don't think that colon will be treated as a part of integers, but let me see. At least I can use this. Yeah, I can use this. Definitely. Yeah. Oh, it gave a, oh, yeah. Yeah, it did work.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it has taken as integer, not unsigned. It has taken as integer. Okay. That's a good learning from me as well. Okay. So if I want to have a key value pairs like in arrays, and I don't know if you don't want to use a struct, this map is going to help you for that. So you need to have a predefined set of the data that will be coming in for you. Okay, let's say if you are actually trying to fetch a list of ID and SKU. Let's assume this is for products. Okay. So if you want to fetch ID and SKU, you need to know its data type, and then that way you can formalize the data that you receive. Let's take this one as an example. So we will be having a list of products. Key will be an integer, and the value will be a string SKU. Okay. So if that is the case, we will be doing like this. I'll say call it product list. We are not usually in Golang. We don't usually use this long, variable names. So we will use map. Actually, it should be. I think let me try map of integer, and then the value will be string, and then you do it like this. Let me just put this product list like this. Okay. So if we want a key as integer and then value as string, it has to be definitely in this format. If the value for this int is multidimensional again, it's not going to work. So you'll define the map like this. Okay. So this map belongs to a non-primitive data type. So let's see how we can add values to this. I'm directly doing initialization and declaration because it's going to be the same way like we did even here like for declaration. But we are so I think by now you would have understood why we don't need to declare things like this. It's just going to be a waste of one line of code. Okay, so I'll just start adding values to this. So to add value to this, I'll just have to simply write the value. That's it. Product 1. And then always there should be a comma. So 2, product 2. These are SKUs, you can assume. Okay. And if I want to print that map, it's going to be just like this. So the result is map of these values. So if you ask me what is the difference between slice and map, then the answer is very clear already. Slice is an indexed array. Map is having a key value pair. And indexed array always started from 0. Whenever you use something like Golang here, that's where it is taking integers. And we don't have any funky colon things going on for maps at least. Okay, so this is how we work on maps. This is for integer and string types. There can be, I've never tried, I did try this some time back. Let me just give it another try. Address map. So I'll just give this a map of, let's say map of int, and then it's a type of address. Oh, nice, excellent. So it's an address map type. So combination of map with structs are like this. Okay, so if I want to give value to this, it's going to be like 1 and then the value to this. No complaints. And then if I want to have another value, let's say 2, and then it's going to work like this without any issues. So this is combination of using map with struct like this. Okay, we can even do string as well. Let me try that as well for you. So in that address, I can just say billing. I can just say shipping. That's going to work like this. The map of billing and map of shipping both are there. Okay. If I want to print a specific value again, so it should be address map of billing. It will give the exact map for it. Just the result that we wanted. Just like any other array here. Okay. So that is about the map and fetching the value for map. Okay. So we have now covered the basics of the data types. So let's go to our favorite loops. Font, loops. Okay. So right now you can just imagine that we are right now in maybe third or fourth chapter of Golang, because I think all other things are actually all this basic library that we learn on day-to-day usage. It need not have to be known on for the usage that we have. So let me use names or even numbers. I'll start with numbers, and then we'll go through names as and when we have loops. For loops, I'm mostly using for. It's going to be like this. For loop is going to take two. Let's do the conventional ones first. Okay. So we don't usually use this. It is good for us, but if I do this, it's going to remove it. I'll show this in a little bit. So I equal to 0. If I want to just, this is the regular way, If I want to print something, then so if I just give this a bracket, okay, I'll just save this first, okay. Now I've saved it. I'll just create a bracket for this, and then if I save this, let me see that. Yeah, it's saying unexpected bracket. It's not expecting any brackets there. So you don't need a bracket, and this is very conventional. It's not so conventional here. So if I just want to print that statement, just if we expected IBM less than equal to 10 days, and that's where it printed from 0 until 10. This is the regular loop that we have been learning ever since terminals. I don't know. So this is regular way. If we want to use these names, numbers, let me start with numbers. If I want to loop through that given set of numbers, I'll have to just use like this. So for is now going to take a key and a value pair. So key is an index, comma, and a value to it. I'll call this n, and which will run through a range. Actually, like this, a range of numbers that we have already used here. I'm using this one. Okay, so I'll just print of n. Notice that I is not being used. If I is not required, we'll just have to do an underscore. So if I just run this, let me just write another print statement, or I'll just use what. So looping a slice, it did print whatever we had. If you even wanted that key, just give some value to it. And then yes. So it's going to give the index as well as the value to it. Okay, if it is string, we have names here. It's the same syntax. That's it. The conventional way. There is no for each. There is no array filter, array map. No shit. It's just straightforward. Just only one for loop. Okay. We have do while. Yes. While and do while is there. I guess. Okay. So this is for names. I think I've covered both string and. Okay. Let us try the slice of struct. I'll just copy the same thing. Loop and slice of struct addresses. Yeah, addresses is correct. And so I have I and n, which I'll replace. So we have index and then the actual address. So if I want to just print address dot, you'll get all these options that is there inside struct. You can even print the entire struct without using dot. If you want to use the actual, let's say first name, I'll even do an last name, address dot last name. If I'll just loop through, actually I forgot I don't need I anymore. So looping a slice of struct, I got the response back. So that is about looping a slice of struct. We can also do the same thing for looping a map of struct. Okay. For this we had one example here. Address map. I will just use the same thing. Notice I'm not changing anything because the value that I had is actually a struct itself. And that's the reason why it is not throwing me any errors. So if I run this, so it did give the results back. Okay. If you want to even include the key, I'll just use the key. One was billing and one was shipping. So I got the results. I think both of it didn't have a last name, so that's the reason why last name really didn't show up there. Okay. Okay. So that's about loops. Let me try a while. I I don't think I've tried a while for a long time. Um, I need to declare that I somewhere. Yeah, I don't think there is a while for, let me see. Yeah, there's no while for sure. What is the error? Let me see. Looks like there is something. Gosh. Yeah, I'm not sure whether there is a while. Maybe there is a thing like this. I'm not sure. It's saying, I'm not sure whether it is saying that I don't have this variable. Yeah, I'm not sure. So, I mostly don't try to use while loop because of its nature that it goes beyond the loop. Okay, so that's about for loop. I will skip over, I don't know whether there is a do while. I'll skip over that and go to the switch statement. We have a switch. Uh, so switch. Even if we are so much used to these brackets, it's still not the same. So let me. What shall I use? Okay, let me just create an variable. Day. So case, and then as usual, and then if I want to do something with it, and then I'll start with another case. Notice that there is no break statement. Uh, there's no break statement really. Let me do a default. Okay, and distribute. So just print good morning. The reason, even if there is no break, it didn't execute any of the other statements, as you can see. So I'll just do this as a nil. We have not seen an example for nil. Okay, yeah, I'll just check it. Just use empty brackets. Yeah, so it went and defaulted to hey. Okay, so that's about switch. What else do we have? Hmm. Yeah, I don't think there is anything else. You can even do this with, I've just given example for string, but it's also for int. Yeah, it doesn't work for struct. It doesn't work for map and so on. Just the regular case. Okay, any questions so far before I go on to these three? I think we are almost coming to an end. I still have 20 minutes more. Do you have any questions so far? Oh, we have actually not covered the, the favorite if conditions. Okay, so let's try that. So if we are so much used to the brackets, just notice that here, if let's say it is true, and then it's in. Okay, so it removed the brackets if you have noticed, or even if I just let's say I declare I is equals to 10, and then I just use I is greater than 10. Notice that it added the space automatically and it removed the bracket. Even if I add it and save it, it's going to remove it. So if it is greater than, so 10 was not greater than because it was equal to. It didn't print it. If you want to really print that else statement as well, you always have that option, just like in any other language. So if I just make it equal, that's it. Okay. Any other questions so far? Okay. I still missed one more thing there. Pointers. Okay. So far no question, right? Okay. So we saw all of there's one more thing I need to add, which is here. Let's say we even have functions. Okay, we saw everything in main function, and I just gave a brief about how functions is. Uh, we worked everything in main, but I'll explain how we can actually pass in the parameters as well. Let's see that. Okay. So I'll just create another method. So right after main, I'll create function, and then you know what? There is so many more things. We functions is there, fine. We have receivers as well. Okay, we'll go through that anyways. We can even have a second set of call after your lunch, but we'll just wrap up with this one function and we'll go through the second set after. So for function, we'll just have to create one func method, the keyword, followed by the method name that we want to perform our actions. Let me just call it as print, and then I'll simply just do a regular print here. Okay. So to call this function, actually I'm doing so much here. Actually, let me just move this to another file. That way we will all get to see. I'm just doing this for visibility. Okay. So does anyone know how to put this terminal to the right side? Okay. Anyways, so to call this function that we just created, we'll just have to do this print. There's just this much, and it's going to get the results that is required for us. So print, and then that printed the value. However, if I want to pass in a parameter, print a string, and if I want to print a string, let's assume that we want to pass in a parameter to it, and let's assume that we will be passing a string. So I'll just have to pass that string like this. So for the data, the variable name comes first, and then the data type. Okay. So let's see. Uh, print a string, and then I'll call it as hello. And then if I want to print that, so it printed both. I'll just comment this one out. So, rerun it. Print a string. It's going to, whatever variable we just passed in here, it's going to print it. If I want to pass another string, if I just say word, okay, I need to take in another parameters. I can do it like this. String 1, and then string 2, and then call it string 1. Okay, I have not explained the concatenation. I'll try to do that here. So we just need to use a plus operator, and it will automatically align it for you. So if I want to do, if I want to pass into string, it's going to be like this. There is, why am I doing that? Okay. So it prints without any space, like as usual. If I want it with the proper space, I have to give the space to it. Okay. There is another better way for passing if it is having a like type of data type. I don't have to do it like this. All I need to do is just S1, comma S2. Both are treated as a string. So here if I just run this command, it's going to print what I want without any issues. If I want to pass in another data type, let's say 1, which is going to be an unsigned int type. We are used to int. I'm actually trying to stress on unsigned int because I wanted to explain that as well. So I just can use this. So these two are combination of string, and this one is a unsigned integer, and it printed everything for us. So this is how you actually pass in data types. You can even pass in the structs like this. Okay. So that is about functions. I'll talk about the return type. So let's say I have a string to return. So I'll just call it as get string. And if I want to return back the string, let's say so if I just want to do this, the return type specification will be like this. Okay. So if I am returning a string, I'll just give it as a string here. If I am returning integer, I'll just change this one to integer. And in the same way for all other things, all other data types. Okay. So again, if we want to try printing that, so fmt dot println and get string. If I just do this, it's going to return back the string and print it as usual. Okay. If I want to print two strings here, I can still do it. I can call it a string comma string. This has to be bracketed like this, and I'll divide this into two return statements. It's going to be like this. So I'm able to now return uh, two set of data. Okay. If I run this now, the result is still same. We are now still able to return back two strings.
Karthik,
Yeah.
when you're returning multiple values, how will you hold those values?
Okay. Yeah. I'll explain that. So I'm directly doing this one like this, right? So let's say I'll just undo that. Let's say I'm having my first name here, and then I'm having my last name here. Okay. So this is returning my first name and last name. If I want to utilize those, let me also change the name then. Get name, and if I want to use that in a variable, it's going to be like this. So if first name, then comma last name, and then colon equal to get name. This is automatically going to hold the data accordingly. First name is going to be whatever gets returned first. Last name is going to be whatever it goes to hold back second. And I simply use this. Okay. I run this and that. Even if it is multiple data types, it is still acceptable. I'll give one such example. Usually, we in string conversion we saw an example here in basics, right? We converted a string and it actually was returning two data types. We did that string conversion.
Yeah, that error one.
Yeah, exactly. Did I remove that code? I don't think so. Yeah, it is right here. So parse int here it was returning unsigned int and error. Okay, this is the exact same example that I was trying to show you here. So let's say something. Okay, let's do uh, let's say assert. Uh, we are so much used to assert statement, so I'm just getting that here. Assert greater than, and let's expect an integer. Let's say n integer. And if everything goes well, let's say it will return back boolean. If it didn't assert, if it failed, then let's say it is an error type. Okay, so if n is greater than 10, then okay, maybe yeah, if it is greater than 10, let's say error, we'll return back error here, or else we'll simply return back true. Okay. So if I want to return two values back, obviously if there is no error, I will return back nil. If there is an error, we will return back false. And how do I throw error? There is a package called errors. In that we have a method called new. It is going to throw. This one is used for throwing the error. Given number is okay. This is there is no try catch block inside Golang, and you actually catch the error like this itself. So You throw the error like this. It's this errors dot new is just like throw new exception statement. This throw new exception. This line here is same as this in PHP. Okay. So whenever we are throwing exception, that is recorded as error, and then we'll be able to catch that like this. So let's say result errors, and then assert is greater than, and just give 11. I want there should be some error. So how do I validate whether there is an error? I'll write an if error is not equal to nil, then that means there is some error, right? So you print that font.ln. So here err dot error will give us the string of whatever error we encountered, or else we are, I think, good to just see the result. Okay. I'm getting a warning here. Oh, okay. Here, what it is suggesting is inside FMT there is another method called error f, which is directly going to print us the error. So it is recommending me to use that rather than this. I use that. Hold on. I'll just show you what that error is. So it's a warning. Error is a function value not called. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. So there is that error rep also, which is actually recommended to use for print. So here error is a method which is going to convert that error to its given string. That is nothing but this one. So in this set of statement that I execute now, it is supposed to throw an error, right? So it's going to print both error and this one. If you don't want that the other statements to get printed, why is this happening? If you don't want the other statement, just use else and just move this one inside and just run this. So it throws an error, it catches an error, and it says given number is greater than 10. If you want to, okay, if you want to print what number that you got, you can even use fmt.printf. We can even, if we are even doing this, I'll show you one thing here. Whenever we are using error.new, it is actually and we use fmt.printf. It will give another warning. I'll show what that warning is. Okay. Here it is recommending us to use fmt.errorf. That way you don't need to use error.new. Okay. So I'll just show that fmt.errorf, and then now it will solve the problem. It actually removed one dependency. Now I can use percentages anywhere. Given number percentage v. Percentage v will automatically translate according to your data type that you have. So percentage v will even handle the structs, array, map, everything. Like in PHP we have percentage s, percentage d for integers, percentage f for float, and all that. But percentage v in Golang here is actually helping us to determine the data type and then print the value accordingly. So if we just see this result, now it will clearly say given numbers, the number is greater than 10. My laptop hung. Are you all following? So we got the result. Given number 11 is greater than 10. Okay, now if we want to just pass in the other result, it will not go and print the error. Just give it 10. It's not supposed to print that the error, but so result is true. Okay. So that is about getting two return values. I've just given string and I'm just giving primitive type return types, primitive data type return types. You can always have non-primitive as well. Like I showed you slice and all that. Okay. So this is how you actually use the methods. Okay. So we just covered functions. Let's cover receivers, interfaces, and I want to cover receivers with packages and then interface and access specifiers. Maybe let's go for a break and maybe after your lunch, once you are all are ready to have another session. If you really want to, then you can join back. Okay. Is that okay with everyone? I'll stop the recording.